So we need to do something. So what we did was, we spoke with the management, we promoted them to the next rank. So that's where they are. One of them is now a principal manager, and the other one a manager, 2 young men. So we are trying to apply some of these best practices to also encourage and motivate our staff. But we'll continue to do. You said so much, and the paper is so rich. And I was just making eyes to the director of human resource, and I said to her, we need to collect this so that we can use it as a resource to also, in our own various departments, we can go through it. And because this is supposed to be a training of trainers. So you've heard you have to go back, and also, particularly for the younger ones that are still in your department, to begin to put some of this into practice. Like I always say, once we're determined, there is nothing we cannot achieve. You believe and you achieve. And I believe that together we can achieve. That is the kind of spirit we have tried to instill here. And I know that this talk has added a lot of ingredients to what we're doing. I'll stop here. Thank you very much.
So please, if you have comments to make, questions,
please feel free. Ask questions, clarifications. You can also make contributions if you want. Or should I leave?
Good morning. Once again, I want to welcome you to the Corporate Affairs Commission. And I want to thank you for making our time, to be with us today. I know, how busy and how very engaged you are, because I know my staff was having, interactions with you on phone. And when you told me, in fact, the date was not today. When we agreed on the date before now, and I said to you, have you contacted Prof? He said, no, Haja, Prof, no, Prof is busy on that day. I said, let Prof give us a date. If he gives us a date, we will work with the date he gives to us. And of course, I'm happy that the date you gave to us, you're able to make it. Now, I know that this is just a percentage of the staff we have in the commission. What we try to do is we try to get staff from every department. Just some departments we got 2, some departments we got 3, some departments we got 4. But just like the acting registrar general has said, we want to be Oliver Twist. And what we want to ask Prof to do for us is if we can have a copy of your handout, so that at least for those who have attended today, like she said, it's a train the trainer kind of thing. And I am sure with the handout and with some notes that we have taken, we would go back to our various departments and impact on them what we have learned. But Prof, the Registrar General has just made a suggestion that we have a larger house where all of us would will be more in attendance. Not only that, Prof, there are quite a few issues that you mentioned here, and these issues relate to management. It's not just for the staff. As management, for us, some of us think as management we have paid our dues and we are no more staff. So I would appreciate if we can organize something for the management, so that you come and talk to us as a management on how to, you understand, apply most of this, things you have mentioned to us. Some of us have that feeling of, like you said, this is not my father's company, or this is not my company. Even as management, some of us still feel I have paid my dues, having risen up to, being a director. I have paid my dues, or I have served for 20-something years. I've paid my dues, but that's not it. And another aspect you talked about that I'm really interested in is in the APAFOR, annual appraisal performance evaluation. You made mention of those used in the ministries and everything. That's the same methodology that we use here in public affairs commissions too. But like you said, there's a comment form, but that is not enough. In modern best practice, that's what we call the 360 degrees. And in that 360 degrees, it is something that I have been, muting. And I would appreciate it if, you can, we can maybe sit with you, talk with you, and if you can maybe advise us on how we can effectively implement the 360 degrees, where you are being assessed by your subordinates while you are assessing your subordinates. Because what with the methodology we're using now is quite subjective. You understand? It's just if you get on well. And the thing is, what happens here is that staff know when Apple forms will be given. And when they know that we are distributing the Apple forms, we are in their nicest behavior. Honestly, that's it. And of course, some of them become extra nice. There are some people, just like you mentioned, you said, when you want results, when you want to achieve results, you care less of the staff's character. Even if the staff doesn't use you, all you want is for that result to achieve. But like I said, you see, this Apple form is a bit subjective. If a staff, for example, feels from January to maybe the third quarter of the year, doesn't say hello to you, as soon as the Apple form is distributed, he comes around. Yeah, good morning. Good morning, ma. Good morning. You understand? Sometimes when you want to, appraise that staff, you are like, you just give him sharp before he just goes, this sharp issue comes in. And once that comes in, you understand, you now become a subjective thing. So these are areas I would like us to, sit together with you and maybe improve on. Once again, I want to thank you for making our time to be with us.
Let's have one lady and one man.
Good morning, sir. Good morning. My name is David Cooley. Prof, I want to sincerely appreciate you for this wonderful narrative you've given to us concerning work ethics. You said something about giving back to the society, but I want to tell you, sir, that with due respect, in as much as you're trying to give back to the society, every act of kindness is a seed. It's going to get back to you. Sure. That is my prayers for you, sir. This is a very wonderful, you have succeeded in smoothing our rough edges, with the narrative. You've opened our eyes to so many things. And we are going to take this, back to our various offices and even beyond the walls of CAC. Sure. Because life does not start at any CAC. We are hoping to get out there and make impacts to just like you have done. And we pray that we'll be able to imbibe this. Someday, somewhere, we should be able to give back to the society just like you have done today. God bless you, sir.
The lady, you don't talk out thank you. Ladies, don't disappoint
Yeah, the quiet time.
Ladies. Ladies.
Good morning, everyone. Everything has been said twice. Just to appreciate you for everything said today, and to thank him for being here with us and talk about his work ethics. So many other things that we didn't really, we're not really taking into consideration before, but now, what he said here today has really made an impact in so many things about the work ethics, how to be disciplined in everything we do in our work, being timely in attending to files that come to us, and
Thank you very much. I know. Let me say, we'll also recall, and I think it's very important, like David said, this is not just for here. Remember, we have homes. These things will cascade down. Even the way we treat our children, the way we also support them and help them to become responsible adults. So don't just look at it that it's CAC. You come here, you drop it, and then you go home with something else. For those who have been in different departments with me in the past, remember I always tell you this, that everything you do, everything you hear, you know that it's good. Take it back home, both to our spouses and to our children. And let us always see anything we're doing as a national assignment. I use that all the time. All of us here are here representing our various states, all together for Nigeria, the good of Nigeria. We must leave a legacy because posterity will judge us in years to come. Let us leave a CAC that in years to come, like I used to tell in customer service, people will be proud to say, oh, you know, my uncle worked in CAC. You know, my auntie was here in so and so. Because in America and all these places, they have all those history. You go anywhere, you begin to see names of past leaders. And why are their names recorded? They have done one good thing or the other that they are being remembered for. We will always be remembered for the good that we have done in CAC, even in years to come. Even after we have left here, people will say, once upon a time, so and so participate here, and this is what he or she contributed to lead this organization forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't think I got questions as I expected, but I got comments, I got commendations, obvious appreciations, as the case may be. That reminds me so much of my jurisprudence class way back in 1979 at the University of Lagos, when Professor Yebode used to teach us those days. Yebode, you possibly must have come across or heard his Harvard train, Kekiv, and so on and so forth. For us at that point in time, he used to blow too much grammar. So confusing in jurisprudential terms that by the time he's done, he will ask us any question, we will all chorus, no question. One, because we don't understand what he has said, than any other thing. So by the time he leaves, we just call the other thing, hey, what was it? I don't want to believe that I belong to that group. I appreciate the sentiments and the kind comments. Yeah, the issue of 360 is one that resonates so well with me in the sense that it's done in the universities. It's done in the universities. Most universities, even in Nigeria now, students assess lecturers. Oh yes, they do. You cannot be promoted as a lecturer unless you have a positive assessment from your students. Based on day-to-day activity in class and so on, amongst other things. So, how well you've been able to conduct your supervisions, whether at the master's level, even at the undergraduate level, is their qualifying paper they submit, as the case may be. And then, of course, those who are doing PhDs, as the case may be. So, they do in the university. So, I think that is where we're good to go with that, too. So that at any point in time, even those at the leadership level or management level should also be careful, because you don't know what those under may be thinking about you. Yeah. And if they have challenges that should be taken up to a higher level, those who are leaders at that other level will not be shy of doing so. Because if you don't take up my matter upstairs, then when the time comes, I'll mark you bad. Because it shows that you are not capable of representing my interests. So that is one that is quite acceptable to me, and one that we should also be thinking of. But independent of whatever the rules are outside, you can introduce it as your own makeup. But there are so many issues that have been raised, which for me is difficult to say no. My PA is here. I will direct that the soft copy will be made available to you. And then the other requests, I'm in the sports now. I can say no to CAC as an organization. I cannot say no to my wife. So, yes, we work out a convenience for the management interface, and of course an appointed time for the larger house to also meet. So I want to say that I am elated and delighted that from the RG I can get an idea of where you are likely to take the commission to, and I believe that the vision seems to be laudable and lofty, and I just pray that all will work out well, and that you will have the commitment and support and solidarity of the staff with you, so that at the end of the day we'll have a CAC that we'll be proud of. So thank you.
And staff of the commission, I wish to appreciate Prof for having found time to be here and interact with us on the matter of positive work ethics. We thank you so much for coming. We appreciate, and as you have promised, we look forward to seeing you some other time.
For this wonderful lecture you've given us, and the Lord continue to bless you.
Amen.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
That will come up for discussion, but this is just to suggest that this is, we should look beyond the international, look at the international and also look at various cases or arguments that made for us to censor social media in a way that benefits both those who are exposed and those who are using it. Whether the operators are subject to local control, I truly do not know how that can be achieved, but already internationally in other countries it's been done. China has asked Facebook and Twitter at different times to withdraw some content to shut down. So, first, social media has no boundaries. They might in theoretical terms, but in practice, it has no boundary. And an important factor input in the development process is social capital. Social media is one major source of social capital. And so it is very important for the development process. And so misuse can be very detrimental. However, we need to come to the realization that it is good, but we need to manage the downsides, because that's the only way to go. In conclusion, it is my expectation that we should be able to say, yes, there's a need for social media, there's a need for social media regulation, but the regulation of the sources in the advanced context is little regulation to provide a level playing field for all, both those who can and those who are targeted, to be able to benefit from it. So I want to believe that in the course of our discussions, we'll be able to address some of these issues and many more. Thank you very much. To give us the next presentation, which is on social media and freedom of expression. The Peter Douglas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have copies here. I prepared this
passed between 3:30 a.m. and 7:30 a.m. this morning, the ever-growing complexities of modern society. In other words, the question whether the right to express oneself on social media entitles him to infringe under the guise of freedom of speech in an untrammeled and unrestricted manner upon the rights of others, or to commit a crime penalized by the state is a burning issue in constitutional law. These and many portals are ongoing, current and contemporary legal and constitutional minds globally. Hence, I honestly commend the law firm of my learned brother Sake for taking this bold step to put together this colloquium. I am of the strong opinion that issues and papers discussed here will really impact on both governmental and individual thought processes, especially with the area of eminently qualified resource persons assembled by the Azinge Lord Chairman. I therefore humbly request that all distinguished participants and the press should give due attention to the issues and papers discussed at this colloquium with a view to making our society a better one. Brief comments. It would be inappropriate for me to leave the podium, the imaginary podium here, without making a general statement on the topic of this colloquium, since constitutional law is my field of expertise. My comments here are, however, decidedly brief because I have to restrict myself to the role assigned to me, that of delivering a keynote address and not that of delivering a paper. In Nigeria, freedom of speech is guaranteed under Section 39 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. And from the phraseology of this provision, comments on the social media are amply protected. However, as I shall demonstrate briefly, this fundamental right, just like a good number of other rights guaranteed under the Constitution, is curtailed by the Constitution itself and other extant laws enacted by the state. Being a relatively untested area in Nigeria, however, I will briefly examine the judicial and possibly statutory from situations in a number of countries and then attempt to link them up with our local happenings here. Suffice it to say at this stage that in some cases, social media postings have been held to be protected under the constitutional right to privacy. As in the city of Ontario, California, Etat versus Spawn, Etat, 2009, a decision of the Supreme Court of California. However, my concern here, and limiting myself to the topic of this curriculum, I will avoid straying into this aspect of constitutional protection of social media postings. In no specific order, I will briefly consider some foreign decisions for free speech, except in few other circumstances. In the case of Michael Atata, it's a very long name, I shortened it myself, this is Hungary. Application number this decided on 2nd of February 2016. The applicants, a self-regulatory body in Budapest and an internet service provider had forbidden one, comments that at the time of their posting infringe the laws of Hungary, indicate or incite to crime or any other unlawful act. I jumped to 3, vulgar, aggressive, threatening comments. What was vulgar, aggressive, or threatening was to be decided by the moderators in the light of the given topic. The two applicants had also advised their readers by way of disclaimers that comments posted on their platform did not reflect the opinion of the operators of the portal, and that those opinions remain those of the persons posting. The operators also had power to delete postings. Offensive postings were made on the applicant's portal, but on learning that they were being sued, the applicants already deleted the said postings. In a civil action by an injured third party, Hungarian courts found the applicants liable in damages. In allowing the appeal, or call it application for review, however, the European Court of Human Rights held that the findings by the Hungarian courts against the applicants violated the letter's right to freedom of expression as guaranteed under Article 10 of the European Union Convention on Human Rights. Further, court found in paragraph 81 as follows. The court observes that the applicants took certain general measures to prevent defamatory comments on their comments, rather than the applicants, that the writers of comments rather than the applicants were accountable for the comments. The posting of comments injurious to the rights of third parties were prohibited. Furthermore, according to the rules of moderation of the second applicant, unlawful comments were also prohibited. Even though the European Court ordered the applicants to pay the court fees, including the fee paid by the injured party for its legal representation, it refused to make any other adverse order for the following reason expressed in paragraph 86. If you see the European Union judgments, they refer to paragraphs. Such liability may have foreseeable negative consequences on the comment environment of an internet portal. For example, by impelling it to close the commenting space altogether. For the court, these consequences may have, directly or indirectly, a chilling effect on the freedom of expression of the internet. You see, I'm not delivering the full paper. There are a lot of cases. I just selected a few just to highlight that courts always lean more in favor of freedom of speech, especially in the cyberspace. Now that is the only civil matter I researched on. I go to criminal matters. In Parkingham versus North Carolina, appeal number this decided on 19 June 2017. The 2008 North Carolina law had made it a felony for a registered sex offender to gain access to a number of websites, including commonplace social media websites like Facebook and Twitter. The question before the U.S. Supreme Court, therefore, was whether that law offended the First Amendment's free speech clause. The full court of the Supreme Court, in fact, it was a unanimous decision, struck down the law on the ground that it was too general in nature and that it infringed the right to freedom of speech guaranteed by the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. Justice Kennedy, who delivered the lead opinion of that court, reasoned in part on pages 45 of his judgment. Thus, fundamental principle of the First Amendment is that all persons have access to places where they can speak and listen, and then, after reflection, speak and listen once more. The court has sought to protect the right to speak in this special context. The basic rule, for example, is that the street or a park is a quintessential forum for the exercise of First Amendment rights. While in the past there may have been difficulty in identifying the most important places in a spatial sense for the exchange of views, today the answer is clear. It is cyberspace, the vast democratic forums of the internet. And they were referring to Reno and American civil liberties, which I discussed later in this presentation, and social media in particular. 7 in 10 American adults use at least one internet social networking service. Social media offers relatively unlimited low-cost capacity for communication of all kinds. They still relied on Reno. His Lordship continued on page 6 that the cyber age is a revolution of historic proportions that has full dimensions and vast potential to alter how we think, express ourselves, and define who we want to be. Cautioning, however, that the forces and directions of the internet are so new, so protean, and so far-reaching that courts must be conscious that what they say today might be obsolete tomorrow. On pages 6 to 7, he noted that even though child sex abuse is the most serious crime and an act repugnant to the moral instincts of decent people, entitling the legislature to pass valid laws to protect children and other victims from such abuses, the law in question was too general. It affected free speech, and that is a trend. I have even an Indian decision, even the Reno matter, that was why they struck down the legislation. So if there is any law, I will come to that. However, and the court, this opinion should not be interpreted as bearing a step from enacting more specific laws than the one at issue. Specific criminal acts are not protected speech, even if speech is the means for their commission. Reference was made to the previous decision. Though the issue is not before the court, it can be assumed that the First Amendment permits a state to enact specific, narrowly tailored laws that prohibit a sex offender from engaging in conduct that often presages a sexual crime, like contacting a minor or using a website to gather information about a minor. So the Supreme Court of the U.S. in this 2017 decision is saying that for there to be conviction, the provision must be specific, not just generally prohibit. I'm happy the SS people are here, officials from the presidency are also here. The facts in Renus case supra are themselves relevant here. In this case, two provisions of the Communications Decency Act 1996, short form CDA, criminalized knowing transmission of obscene or indecent messages to any recipient under 18 years of age, and also prohibited knowingly sending or displaying to a person under 18 years any message that, in the context depicts or describes in terms patently offensive as measured by contemporary community standards, sexual or excretory activities or organs. It was heard in part acquitting the appellant thus. The CDA lacks the precision that the First Amendment requires when the statute regulates the content of speech. Although government has an interest in protecting children from potentially harmful materials, the CDA pursues that interest by suppressing the large amount of speech that adults have a constitutional right to send and receive. So if the legislation is not specific, it will be knocked down. Similarly, the Indian Supreme Court on 23rd March 2015 struck down Section 66A of the Indian Information Technology Act 2000 on account of it being too general and consequently infringing on the freedom of speech guaranteed under the Indian Constitution. The matter involved two bloggers, Shehan Dada and Renu Srinivasa, who were alleged to have violated that law in their social media postings, which according to the government heightened Hindu-Muslim adverse relations. The said section, I decided to quote the section so that we will see how nebulous and general it was in prosecution and other matters, defense matters. That is section 66A. It provides us, any person who sends by means of a computer resource or a communication device, A, any information that is grossly offensive or has menacing character, or B, any information which he knows to be false, but for the purpose of causing annoyance, inconvenience, danger, obstruction, insult, injury, criminal intimidation, enmity, hatred, or ill will, persistently by making use of such computer resource or a communication device. C. Any electronic mail or electric mail message for the purpose of causing annoyance or inconvenience or to deceive or to mislead the addressee or recipient about the origin of such messages shall be punishable with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 3 years and be fined. These were popular bloggers. They were communicating and they were tracked down by the security agents. Now, the Indian Supreme Court heard that this was too nebulous and struck down that section. Conclusion. There are both few decisions from established and tested jurisdictions are meant to be a guide in the interpretation of Nigerian statutes like the Cyber Crimes Prohibition, Prevention, etc. Act of 2015, and many others. The acid test is whether any provision in this act and the others has specific as opposed to general provisions on the acts and commissions targeted. If any such provision is general or nebulous, it is likely to be struck down as being offensive to Section 39 of the 1999 Constitution, which has guaranteed freedom of speech. On the other hand, if the provisions are specific and direct, they will most likely be upheld by the Constitution. That is not the end of the matter. Section 45, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution has provided two limitations against some of the rights enshrined in the Constitution, providing that the law will be reasonably justifiable in a democratic society, hence might infringe lawfully accessible on fundamentally guaranteed rights, including the right to freedom of speech, A, in the interest of defense, public safety, public order, public morality, or public health, or B, for the purpose of protecting the rights and freedoms of other persons. If I were to be delivering a paper, I will expatiate on this, but mine is just to deliver a keynote address. In view of our discussion above, however, such law must, in its provisions, be specific and not general in nature. I wish us all fruitful discussions on this essential topic. God Almighty bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Adewako, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, joined us. And anyone, Richard Garuba, is just joining us. Please, you are all welcome. Thank you very much. Very much. Another presentation. So let me quickly ask Emma. So the next presentation is from the special guest of honor. That is a goodwill message. Okay, we'll step that down, and so I'll hand over the microphone to Festus Kiamo. Sam, thank you very much.
Thank you. I am clearer when I speak extempore. It was only 2 days ago when I was scrambling to look at the issue, the topic I was given, that I called Dr. Azinge and said, I'm not as prolific as Sebastian Horn. You know, you said you woke up overnight and wrote all of this. I said, is it not you? And I said all this to speak to the topic and expatiate as I go on. Now, what more can we say about social media? The explosion of social media has been a source of joy to so many around the world, and of course a cause of very serious concern to so many around the world. Maybe it is obvious that the world was not ready for this type of explosion. And you can see that even everybody, every segment of the world and society, they are scrambling to keep up with social media. Social media is ahead of everybody. You can see that even our Evidence Act, we scrambled to follow social media. It went ahead before we knew that the Evidence Act had serious problems with social media. And the world is gradually catching up with most of the challenges that social media pose. Now, as it's customary for all papers like this, the first thing you do is look at definition of concepts, the standard procedure. So